Beloved, there is a river that never runs dry. It is the river of divine supply, flowing ceaselessly from the infinite source. And when you align your words and thoughts with this river, abundance overflows into every corner of your life. Wealth is not something to be chased. Peace is not something to be begged for. Prosperity is not something to be stolen from the hands of another. These treasures already belong to you by divine right. And the key that unlocks them is the spoken word of faith affirmations that decree what is already yours. When you speak, speak with power. Declare, I live in overflowing abundance. Wealth, peace, and prosperity come to me under grace in perfect ways. These are not idle words. These are commands etched into the fabric of reality. The subconscious mind accepts them, and the universe itself must obey. No longer shall you dwell in the shadow of lack. The chains of poverty are broken when you affirm your true inheritance. Fear and limitation dissolve like morning mist before the rising sun. For you are not a creature of scarcity, you are a vessel of infinite supply. Remember this, riches that come with worry are not riches at all. But when prosperity flows under grace, it brings joy, serenity, and rest. Wealth and peace walk hand in hand, and prosperity becomes a song that never ends. Gratitude multiplies this blessing. Each time you give thanks for what you see, and for what you cannot yet see, the gates of heaven open wider. Affirm, I am grateful for the abundance that surrounds me. I give thanks for overflowing supply. Gratitude turns the little into much and the unseen into the visible. Shift your thoughts and your life will shift. Expect miracles and miracles appear. Say to yourself, divine abundance now manifests in my life. I live in a constant state of overflow. These words are not a hope but a decree. And as surely as the seed contains the tree, your spoken affirmations contain your harvest of wealth and peace. Do not limit prosperity to gold or silver. True riches are health in your body, harmony in your home, opportunities that open before you, and love that surrounds you. Affirmations draw forth all these blessings, weaving a tapestry of abundance that nothing can tear apart. Stand firm in the faith of your word. Just as creation itself was spoken into existence, so shall your prosperity be spoken into form. Speak wealth, and wealth will answer. Speak peace, and peace will cover you. Speak prosperity, and prosperity will spring up on every side. Live in the overflow, dear soul. Live so richly that your cup spills over into the lives of others. Affirm now, I am a channel of divine abundance. I live in wealth, peace, and prosperity, under grace and in perfect ways. And so it is. The law of overflowing abundance is the divine principle that reminds us that life was never meant to be lived in lack, limitation, or struggle. All of creation is a testimony to the generosity of the infinite source. Look at the stars scattered in the heavens, the grains of sand upon the shore, the countless blossoms in a field, and the endless waves of the ocean. Nature reveals to us the truth of abundance, for there is always more than enough. The universe was created with surplus, with overflow, with beauty and provision beyond human calculation. To recognize this law is to awaken from the illusion of scarcity and step into the reality of infinite supply. Abundance is not a matter of chance, nor is it determined by human effort alone. It is governed by divine law, and this law responds to the consciousness we hold and the words we speak. When one believes in lack, speaks of lack, and fears lack, the law mirrors that belief and brings it into form. But when one dares to affirm overflowing wealth, peace, and prosperity under grace, the law responds with multiplication, increase, and supply in ways that are perfect and beyond human imagination. The outer life always reflects the inner state, and by aligning thoughts with abundance, one aligns with the very current of divine provision. The spoken word is the key that unlocks this law. Every affirmation charged with faith is a decree sent forth into the unseen, calling forth substance into visible form. To say, I live in overflowing abundance, wealth and peace flow to me under grace, is not mere positive thinking, but the activation of spiritual law. The mind holds the pattern, the word sets it in motion, and the law fulfills it unfailingly. Just as the seed must sprout when planted in fertile soil, affirmations spoken in faith must bear fruit in due season. There is no resistance in divine law, for the universe is always for you, never against you. Overflowing abundance means more than enough for every need, and even more to spare. It is the cup that runs over, the harvest that exceeds expectation, the blessings that arrive pressed down, shaken together, and running over. This abundance does not come by human force or strain, but by alignment with grace. For when the law works under grace, supply arrives without toil, opportunity appears without anxiety, and wealth brings no sorrow with it. It is effortless provision flowing from the infinite storehouse of spirit, timed perfectly and delivered in perfect ways. The law of overflowing abundance also calls each soul to expand its capacity to receive. One cannot hold a river in a thimble. The measure of one's faith, gratitude, and expectancy determines the measure of one's overflow. To complain of little is to close the door. To give thanks for much, even before it is seen, is to swing the gates wide open. Gratitude multiplies supply, expectancy draws it nearer, and faith seals the promise. This law is not partial, not limited, not selective. It flows as freely as air and sunshine, waiting only for the open vessel to receive. Those who live by this law do not fear tomorrow, for they know provision is endless. They do not cling tightly to possessions, for they understand the flow is constant. They bless others with generosity, knowing that to give is to keep the river moving. They speak words of life, affirming constantly, my supply is infinite, my abundance overflows, and every good thing comes to me under grace. And as these affirmations are sown, the harvest comes back multiplied, overflowing, and eternal. Affirmations, as creative decrees, are more than mere words. They are spiritual commands sent forth into the unseen, carrying with them the power of creation itself. When one speaks with conviction, with faith, and with unwavering trust in the divine, those words become living forces that shape circumstances, draw opportunities, and bring invisible substance into visible form. Every word carries vibration, and every vibration sets in motion currents that move through the universe, returning multiplied into the life of the one who spoke them. To understand affirmations in this light is to realize that we are never idle talkers but powerful creators, fashioning destiny with every decree we release. The ancient truth declares that in the beginning was the Word, and through the Word all things came into being. That same creative essence resides in each soul, for humanity was given dominion through the spoken word. Affirmations are not empty repetitions, but divine edicts, proclaiming what is already true in spirit until it manifests in matter. When one says, I am surrounded by wealth and peace, prosperity flows to me under grace, it is not a wish or a hope, but a declaration that calls forth hidden realities and summons them into appearance. The subconscious mind is the fertile soil into which every affirmation is planted. It does not argue, it does not reason, it simply accepts the seed that is sown. When words of lack and fear are spoken, the subconscious brings forth after their kind. But when affirmations of abundance, peace, and prosperity are declared with faith, the subconscious responds by directing energy, people, and circumstances to fulfill that decree. Thus the law is impartial. It reflects back exactly what is spoken and believed. The power lies not in chance, but in the quality of the word released. Affirmations spoken without conviction may seem weak, but when charged with emotion, faith, and expectancy, they become irresistible forces. Just as a decree from a king carries authority and must be obeyed, so too does an affirmation spoken with spiritual authority command the cooperation of unseen forces. The universe bends to the voice of faith, rearranging conditions to align with the spoken decree. This is why careless words of doubt or defeat must be avoided, for the law is always listening, always responding, always bringing forth fruit after the seed of the word. Affirmations are most powerful when spoken consistently and with gratitude. Each repetition strengthens the pattern, carving it deeper into consciousness until it becomes a living reality. The decree may not appear instantly, but the unseen forces set to work the moment the words are spoken. Patience, gratitude, and unwavering faith water the seed, and in due time the harvest must come. One may affirm, every day, in every way, I am blessed with overflowing abundance. Wealth, peace, and prosperity manifest in perfect ways under grace. Such words, repeated with confidence, will build a new inner world that inevitably shapes the outer one. To live by affirmations is to live as a creator, not as a victim of chance. It is to claim the divine authority given to every soul and to exercise it wisely. By affirming health, one creates health. By affirming peace, one draws peace. By affirming prosperity, one calls forth prosperity. These decrees are not bound by time or circumstance. They move beyond limitation and carry the certainty of fulfillment. Affirmations spoken in faith are never lost. They return as manifestations of the truth declared. They are the bridge between the unseen and the seen, between the spirit and the material, between what is hoped for and what becomes reality. Under grace, not struggle, is the way of true prosperity, for all that is received in divine order comes without strain, without fear, and without the exhausting effort of forcing conditions to appear. So many believe that success must be wrestled from life, that wealth must be seized by competition, and that peace is only a reward after hard labor. Yet the higher law declares that what is yours comes easily, joyfully, and perfectly when it flows under grace. Grace is the divine adjustment of every detail, the gentle unfolding of blessings that arrive in perfect timing, leaving no sorrow, no burden, no regret in their wake. Struggle belongs to the realm of the limited self, the mind that sees only obstacles and believes that lack is real. Grace belongs to the infinite, the part of you that knows provision is already complete and waits only for your acceptance. When you affirm that prosperity comes under grace, you are declaring that wealth and peace arrive without harm to another, without conflict, and without the draining fight that so often characterizes worldly pursuits. What you receive under grace is unshakable because it was not built on strain or fear, but on divine order. Those who struggle often chase after shadows, exhausting themselves for results that slip through their fingers, or gaining possessions that bring no true satisfaction. But when supply flows under grace, it comes in such a way that you recognize the hand of the infinite arranging every detail. Doors open effortlessly, opportunities appear without manipulation, and resources flow from unexpected places. There is a sweetness to prosperity gained this way, for it carries no hidden weight, no bitter aftertaste, only the joy of divine provision. Grace is the law of love, and it corrects every mistake of human effort. When one has toiled and worried, planting seeds of anxiety, grace can still intervene, restoring harmony and turning the tide toward peace and prosperity. To say, all that is mine comes to me under grace in perfect ways, is to surrender the burdens of self-effort and invite the higher law to operate on your behalf. It is not passivity, but powerful trust, for it acknowledges that the infinite knows the perfect path, far better than human reasoning can conceive. To live under grace is to live in flow. Instead of battling against conditions, you align with the rhythm of divine order. Struggle pushes, but grace draws. Struggle strains, but grace glides. Struggle grasps with fear of loss, but grace receives with open hands, knowing the supply is endless. The wealth gained under grace endures, the peace given under grace deepens, and the prosperity that arrives under grace multiplies without effort. There is no limit to what can be received this way, for grace is infinite. To affirm daily that every blessing comes under grace is to shield yourself from struggle, to lift your affairs into the current of divine ease, and to welcome prosperity that blesses you and all concerned. What belongs to you will not pass you by, and what comes by grace will never harm or fade. To choose grace over struggle is to choose the higher law, where wealth, peace, and prosperity flow continuously, joyfully, and abundantly, without strain and without sorrow. Breaking mental poverty chains is the first and most vital step to entering into the flow of divine abundance, for poverty does not begin in the pocket, it begins in the mind. Long before lack shows itself in outward affairs, it takes root in thought patterns, in hidden beliefs, and in spoken words of limitation. The chains of poverty are forged from fear, doubt, comparison, and unworthiness, and they bind the soul to a life smaller than the one ordained by the infinite. But just as chains can be broken by force, so too can these invisible shackles be shattered by affirmations of truth, faith, and divine inheritance. Every thought of I cannot afford, every belief of there is not enough, every confession of money is hard to come by, is a link in the chain that keeps abundance away. These words are not harmless. They are decrees that command the law of life to reproduce lack. The mind becomes a prison, and the person unknowingly holds the key to their own confinement. To break these chains requires a conscious turning away from the language of limitation and the acceptance of new affirmations that proclaim supply, wealth, and prosperity as present and overflowing. The truth is that poverty is never part of divine destiny, for the source of all creation is limitless, overflowing, and generous beyond measure. No soul is born to be deprived, for each carries within the right to abundance, peace, and joy. Yet, when one accepts the world's story of scarcity, they begin to live as though poverty were their inheritance. To break free, one must renounce every false belief and replace it with the living word of truth. I am worthy of abundance. I live in an unlimited universe. My supply is endless, and wealth flows to me under grace. With each affirmation, the chains weaken, and the prison door begins to swing open. The subconscious mind must be retrained, for it has absorbed years of fear-based thinking. Like a well-worn path, it leads easily back to thoughts of lack unless a new road is built through repetition, faith, and gratitude. Each time an affirmation of abundance is spoken, a new pathway is carved. Each declaration of wealth and peace cuts through the old programming until the chains snap and fall away, leaving the soul free to walk boldly into prosperity. Breaking these chains also requires forgiveness of the past, of parents, of society, even of oneself, for blame and resentment only keep the prison intact. When forgiveness is spoken, the heart is lightened, and the flow of abundance begins again. Resentment blocks supply, but gratitude opens the gates. By blessing what one has, no matter how little, the soul demonstrates readiness for increase. Gratitude is the hammer that breaks the last lock, for it shifts the focus from what is missing to the overflowing abundance that already surrounds us in unseen form. As the chains break, fear gives way to faith, doubt dissolves into confidence, and unworthiness transforms into divine assurance. The soul that once whispered, "I cannot," now boldly declares, "I live in abundance, I am free, I am prosperous under grace and in perfect ways." The mind is no longer a prison, but a temple of truth, and prosperity, once barred at the gate, floods in with overflowing measure. The chains of poverty are not eternal, for they are only illusions of thought, and illusions dissolve in the light of truth. Once broken, they never return, for the soul that tastes freedom will never again bow to the lie of lack. Peace as the foundation of prosperity is the great secret often overlooked by those who chase wealth with restless minds and anxious hearts. Without peace, riches slip through the fingers like sand, bringing no joy, no satisfaction, and no lasting security. True prosperity begins not with the accumulation of possessions, but with the calm assurance that life is ordered, guided, and supported by the infinite. Peace is the soil in which the seeds of wealth can grow, for it steadies the mind, anchors the soul, and clears the way for divine ideas to flow. A troubled heart cannot hold abundance, but a heart at peace becomes a magnet for prosperity. When peace reigns within, fear and worry lose their grip. Worry is the thief of supply, for it signals doubt in the source, and doubt shuts the door on abundance. But peace proclaims trust, and trust opens the gates for provision to enter. The individual who dwells in peace affirms, "All that I need comes to me easily and harmoniously, under grace and in perfect ways." Such a declaration stills the turbulence of thought and allows prosperity to flow in without obstruction. Just as a calm lake reflects the heavens clearly, so a peaceful mind reflects the perfect pattern of abundance waiting to manifest. Peace is not passivity, but power. It is the inner certainty that no matter what appears outwardly, the unseen source is working all things together for good. When this certainty takes root, anxiety vanishes, and the soul no longer feels compelled to struggle or strive. This inward stillness creates a vibration that draws opportunities, resources, and connections effortlessly. Peace is magnetic. It attracts wealth without strain because it aligns the individual with divine order, where nothing is rushed, nothing is delayed, and nothing is withheld. Those who neglect peace in pursuit of wealth often find themselves with riches that bring only burden. They may succeed outwardly, but remain restless, fearful of loss, suspicious of others, and empty within. This is not prosperity, but bondage. True prosperity brings freedom, joy, and ease, and it rests upon peace as its sure foundation. To affirm prosperity without cultivating peace is to build a house upon shifting sand. But when peace is established first, prosperity rests secure, like a palace built upon rock, immovable and enduring. Peace is cultivated by affirmations that remind the soul of its divine inheritance. To speak, "The peace of God floods my mind. I am calm, serene, and unafraid. I prosper in perfect harmony," is to declare mastery over fear and invite abundance into a sanctuary of stillness. Gratitude strengthens this peace, for it shifts the focus from what is missing to what is already present, creating an atmosphere of contentment where more can be added. Each moment of thankfulness plants another stone in the foundation of prosperity, making it steady and unshakable. When peace becomes the governing state of consciousness, prosperity flows in natural rhythm. The soul no longer chases wealth but allows it to come, knowing that what is rightfully theirs cannot be withheld. Peace transforms waiting into patience, challenges into stepping stones, and uncertainty into trust. From this place of calm assurance, abundance arrives not as a fleeting guest, but as a permanent resident. Wealth gained in peace endures, prosperity rooted in peace multiplies, and the life built on peace becomes a living testimony that true riches are first and always found within. Gratitude unlocks the overflow because it is the spiritual key that swings wide the gates of abundance and allows blessings to pour forth without limit. Gratitude is more than polite words or fleeting emotion. It is a powerful vibration that aligns the soul with the infinite supply of the universe. When one is thankful for what already exists, both seen and unseen, it signals trust in divine order and confidence in the source of all provision. Gratitude multiplies what it touches, turning little into much, scarcity into plenty, and delay into immediate manifestation. It is the acknowledgement that the cup is not half empty, but already overflowing, and this recognition calls forth even greater blessings. The ungrateful heart focuses on what is missing, rehearsing the story of lack, complaint, and dissatisfaction. This mindset closes the door to increase, for the law of life responds by reproducing the very state of lack being affirmed. But gratitude sees abundance even in the seed stage, rejoicing over what is promised before it appears. This expectancy prepares the soul to receive, for the universe cannot deliver fullness to one who insists on emptiness. When one says, "I am grateful for the supply that surrounds me, and I give thanks for the abundance now manifesting," they create a channel for divine substance to flow without resistance. Gratitude is faith expressed. It is saying, "Thank you," before the harvest is visible, because one knows the law of sowing and reaping is unfailing. The farmer who plants a field gives thanks for rain and sunshine before the first sprout breaks the soil. In the same way, the soul that practices gratitude thanks the infinite for prosperity, peace, and harmony, even before they take visible form. This attitude magnetizes the blessing, hastens its appearance, and ensures that when it comes in overflowing measure. Gratitude is not passive but creative, for it actively calls forth increase by acknowledging the abundance already present in spirit. Each moment of gratitude raises the vibration of the mind and heart. Complaints weigh down the soul, but thanksgiving lifts it into higher consciousness, where ideas flow, opportunities appear, and supply gathers. Gratitude does not merely wait for abundance to arrive, it draws it closer with irresistible power. To affirm, "Thank you, Divine Source, for the wealth, peace, and prosperity flowing to me now," is to open the floodgates of supply and welcome the overflow that has been waiting to manifest. Even the smallest expression of gratitude creates ripples that expand outward. To give thanks for a single coin is to honor the principle of wealth, and that honor attracts greater riches. To bless a simple meal is to recognize the abundance of nourishment, and that recognition opens the way for banquets yet unseen. Gratitude multiplies because it turns the mind toward increase, and the law of life gives more of whatever the mind continually affirms. Those who live in gratitude live in continual overflow. They find blessings in every moment, opportunities in every challenge, and wealth in every corner of life. Their gratitude creates an atmosphere of expectancy, and expectancy draws endless supply. The soul that is grateful does not fear tomorrow, for it knows tomorrow will be filled with more to give thanks for. And as gratitude deepens, the overflow becomes so great that it spills over into the lives of others, blessing them in turn. Gratitude is the endless cycle of receiving and giving, of acknowledging and expanding, of unlocking and overflowing. It is the divine magnet of prosperity, the voice of faith, and the sure path to abundance without limit. The prosperity mindset is the inner posture of faith, expectancy, and confidence that draws abundance as naturally as the sun draws the flower to bloom. Prosperity does not begin in the bank account, nor in the work of the hands, but in the consciousness of the mind and heart. When thoughts are saturated with lack, fear, and doubt, life mirrors those beliefs with experiences of limitation. But when thoughts are lifted to the certainty of divine supply, when the soul expects increase rather than loss, the universe responds with overflowing provision. The prosperity mindset is the fertile ground into which affirmations of wealth, peace, and abundance take root, grow, and bear fruit. To cultivate such a mindset, one must first cast off the illusions of scarcity that the world constantly proclaims. The voices of fear say there is not enough, that opportunities are limited, that only a few may prosper while others are left behind. These voices are the whispers of poverty consciousness, and they bind countless souls in invisible chains. The prosperity mindset refuses these lies and boldly affirms the truth. There is more than enough for all, supply is infinite, and abundance is the natural order of life. By holding fast to this conviction, the individual aligns with the higher law that provides without measure. Expectation is the lifeblood of prosperity. To expect good is to invite it, and to expect lack is to repel abundance. The prosperity mindset does not waver between fear and faith, but stands firm in the assurance that what is rightfully yours cannot be withheld. It affirms daily, everything I need comes to me in perfect time, under grace and in perfect ways. This expectation sends out a call to the universe, and the law of life answers by drawing circumstances, people, and resources into harmony with the decree. The prosperity mindset is also rooted in gratitude, for gratitude keeps the soul focused on what is present rather than what is absent. By continually giving thanks, the mind is trained to see abundance everywhere, and what is seen inwardly soon manifests outwardly. A grateful soul never speaks of lack but blesses every evidence of supply, however small, knowing it is the seed of greater increase. This constant recognition of abundance strengthens faith and keeps the door wide open for overflow. Another aspect of the prosperity mindset is generosity. One who clings tightly to possessions out of fear of loss is still chained by poverty consciousness, but one who gives freely, joyfully, and with trust in the endless source demonstrates true prosperity. Giving keeps the river of supply flowing, proving to the subconscious that abundance is not diminished by sharing but multiplied. To affirm, I give freely and I receive freely, for I live in an unlimited universe, is to step into the cycle of continuous increase. With the prosperity mindset, worry is replaced by trust, fear is replaced by faith, and hesitation is replaced by bold expectancy. This mindset does not merely hope for abundance. It assumes it, lives in it, and acts as though it is already present. And in due time, life conforms to the vision held within. Prosperity is not a distant dream, but a living reality for those who think richly, speak richly, and expect richly. When the mind is set on abundance, abundance cannot be kept away, for the universe always fulfills the pattern impressed upon it. Do you want me to now expand prosperity beyond money in the same 550 word flow, so your abundance series builds into a complete collection? You said, expand says prosperity beyond money in 550 words. Don't add subheading or conclusion, ChatGPT said. True prosperity extends far beyond the boundaries of money, for wealth in its highest form is not confined to figures in a bank account or possessions gathered by the hand. Prosperity is the fullness of life itself, the joy of a peaceful mind, the health of a strong body, the warmth of harmonious relationships, and the freedom of a soul aligned with divine purpose. To define prosperity solely by money is to miss the greater riches that life offers, for one may hold vast financial resources yet live in poverty of spirit, bound by fear, loneliness, or discontent. But when prosperity is understood as the wholeness of well-being, then abundance takes on a deeper, eternal meaning that money alone could never provide. The soul that lives in true prosperity values peace as much as possessions, gratitude as much as gold, and love as much as luxury. It knows that money is but one channel of supply, a useful tool in the hands of wisdom, but never the source itself. The source of all prosperity is the infinite, and when the connection to that source is honored, every need is met in perfect time and perfect ways. Money can come and go, but the abundance of the spirit remains constant, unshaken by external shifts. To live in prosperity beyond money is to live with unshakable trust that all good is continually flowing, regardless of appearances. Health is a vital expression of prosperity. What use is wealth if the body is frail or burdened with disease? The prosperous life includes vitality, energy, and the freedom to enjoy each moment fully. Prosperity is the strength to rise each morning with joy, to walk in the sunlight of peace, and to carry out one's purpose without hindrance. When the mind and spirit are aligned with abundance, the body responds with renewal and vitality, for prosperity radiates through every cell, every breath, and every heartbeat. Relationships, too, are treasures of true prosperity. Love, friendship, kindness, and harmony with others enrich the soul in ways that no financial gain could ever match. A heart surrounded by love is wealthier than one surrounded by gold. To dwell in peace with others, to give and receive affection freely, and to share life's journey in unity is a prosperity that endures far beyond material possessions. This wealth cannot be stolen, nor does it diminish when shared. It multiplies, expanding as it flows from heart to heart. Purpose is another jewel of prosperity. To live each day with meaning, to know that one's life contributes to something greater, is to walk in abundance beyond measure. Prosperity is not merely having more, but being more alive, more fulfilled, more aligned with the divine blueprint of one's soul. When purpose is embraced, opportunities open, doors appear, and resources flow, for the universe supports those who walk in the light of their calling. Prosperity beyond money is wholeness, completeness, and overflowing richness in every dimension of life. It is freedom from fear, freedom from lack, and freedom from limitation. It is the joy of being, the peace of inner alignment, and the abundance of love, health, wisdom, and supply flowing together as one great river of life. Money may serve as one of its many channels, but true prosperity is eternal, unshakable, and limitless, touching every part of existence with grace. Faith in the spoken word is the invisible force that transforms thought into substance and desire into reality. Every word carries vibration, and when spoken with conviction, words become creative decrees that move unseen powers into action. The universe listens not to idle chatter or careless complaints, but to words clothed in faith, words that carry the authority of belief. When the tongue declares with unwavering certainty, "I am prosperous, I am whole, I am divinely supplied," those words set in motion the very conditions that fulfill the decree. Faith is the fire behind the spoken word, and without it, affirmations are empty shells. But when faith and speech unite, they become a mighty force of creation. The subconscious mind is the soil into which every spoken word is planted. Idle words scatter seeds of doubt and fear, while words spoken in faith sow seeds of abundance and peace. Just as the earth unfailingly returns the harvest of whatever is planted within it, so the subconscious returns the harvest of words continually affirmed. One who habitually speaks words of lack will reap lack, for the soil of the subconscious does not question. It simply brings forth after its kind. But one who disciplines the tongue to declare abundance, success, and harmony with confidence will surely see that harvest manifested in due season. Faith in the spoken word requires more than repetition. It demands inner certainty. It is not merely saying the words, but knowing they are true, even when external evidence has not yet appeared. To declare, "Divine supply flows to me now," while doubting its possibility, weakens the seed. But to speak those words with the assurance that they are already fulfilled in spirit releases the power that brings them forth into form. Faith is the bridge between the invisible and the visible, and the spoken word is the vessel that carries it across. The power of the tongue is so great that it can build or destroy, bless or curse, open or close the doors of prosperity. Words spoken in fear, anger, or complaint carry destructive force, setting into motion circumstances of hardship. Yet words spoken in love, peace, and gratitude carry creative force, unfolding conditions of harmony and wealth. This is why guarding the tongue is essential, for each word is a decree shaping destiny. Faith-filled speech does not dwell on appearances, but calls things that are not as though they already are, trusting that the unseen reality will soon clothe itself in visible form. When faith in the spoken word becomes a habit, life transforms. Affirmations no longer feel forced but flow naturally, as if the soul itself were speaking its eternal truth. Each declaration builds momentum, reinforcing belief and magnetizing the matching reality. The spoken word becomes a continual prayer, a living song of expectancy, and a decree of divine authority. Faith makes these words alive, charged with energy, impossible to return void. In this way, speech becomes the sculptor of life. Every phrase is a stroke of the chisel, carving the shape of one's future. Those who master the art of faith-filled words become conscious creators of their destiny, no longer tossed by circumstance, but guided by conviction. Faith in the spoken word is the key to unlocking divine abundance, for it calls forth the invisible riches of spirit and shapes them into visible overflow. Words of faith spoken today are the prosperity, peace, and joy of tomorrow.